Good morning. I've got something to show you, and this is it. Anne found it the other day in the garden and gave it to me. I nearly ate it because I thought it was a bonbon, but luckily I didn't because it's just a lump of stone. It could be a musket ball from the days when bullets were made of stone several hundred years ago, but I don't think it is. I think it's a piece of shot to be used in a sling. That would give it a date, say 2,500 years ago. Slings were used a lot in those days, and when the Romans invaded this country, they were met with people armed with slings. There seems to be a benefit from having a height advantage, and hill forts, like the one on top of Bredon, as well as being on hills, also had vertical banks built in, surrounding the camp to give the defenders a bit of a help in letting off these lethal projectiles. It reminds us, of course, of the story of David and his fight with Goliath. David was the man who was later to become king, but at this time he was just a boy. He doesn't seem to have had ready prepared stones like ours, but he collected suitable stones from a nearby stream, and then he was ready with his sling. It's nice to have this little reminder of times so long ago, but it's a shame it has to be such a violent reminder. War leaves its memorials so freely across the world compared to the slight signs of peace. And at this time, the story of David brings to our attention the war being fought now on the same ground and with the same contestants many thousands of years later. So verses from the first book of Samuel, chapter 17. The Philistines occupied one hill and the Israelites another, with the valley between them. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why do you not come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he is able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us." Now David was the son of an Ephraimite named Jesse, who was from Bethlehem in Judah. As he was talking with his brothers, Goliath, the Philistine champion from Gath, stepped out from his lines and shouted his usual defiance, and David heard it. Whenever the Israelites saw the man, they all fled from him in great fear. David said to Saul, "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." Saul said to David, "Go, and the Lord be with you." Then David took his staff in his hand, chose 5 smooth stones from the stream, put them in the pouch of his shepherd's bag, and with his sling in his hand, approached the Philistine. Meanwhile, the Philistine kept coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was little more than a boy, glowing with health and handsome, and he despised him. David said to the Philistine, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty." As the Philistine moved closer to attack him, David ran quickly towards the battle line to meet him. Reaching into his bag and taking out a stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine on the forehead. The stone sank into his forehead, and he fell face down on the ground. So David triumphed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone. Without a sword in his hand, he struck down the Philistine and killed him.